So you want to learn how to make an outline brush in Procreate in under 5 minutes? Let me show you how. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to create an artboard that's 8.5 by 11. You don't necessarily have to do that, but that's just the framework or the best size for me that I use when I create anything in Procreate. Once you have your artboard figured out, you then want to create a new brush. So you do that by clicking the brush icon on the top right-hand side and pressing the plus. Once you do that, it opens up the whole layout of creating a brush in Procreate. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at our spacing. And with our spacing, we want to drop it down all the way to 0. So spacing to none. Okay, so once you have your spacing at none or 0, you want to go to your stabilization. And what stabilization does, it just keeps your strokes more clean and they're smoother. It's not much of a jagged edge when you're going across the screen. So it just keeps everything tight when you're drawing your lines. That's all stabilization is. Then you want to go to your taper. What a taper is, it just tapers the end of the stroke from the beginning to the end. So you can set it for a taper for at the end of your stroke or taper at the beginning. It's all personal preference. I always set my tapers at 50% or a little bit lower, probably 35 to 50. So I can get that sharp edge once I finish a line, depending on what I'm drawing. So I put my taper at 50% in this particular brush. And one thing I also like to do is to test the stroke path of when I'm drawing in Procreate. I know on the right-hand side, there is a test section where you can draw your lines and see if it's to your liking. So give that a try whenever you make any settings for brushes. Then you want to go to your Apple Pencil properties and turn the opacity down to 0. I think with the pressure sensitivity that's within the Apple Pencil, it can kind of mess the brush up in a way. It's not messing it up, but it just doesn't give you that full stroke that you want. It kind of has a little bit of fade at the end. So if you turn that opacity down to 0, then you won't see that. It'll just be like more of a solid monoline brush. Gives it that type of property. So once you've done with all your properties and changing everything within your brush, you want to hit done. And what that does is save the brush that you've just created. So then we can start on the next step of creating your brush. Now we want to take the brush that we just created and we want to duplicate that brush. Once we duplicate it, we want to combine it. So taking the top brush and the brush below it that you just created, combining them, and then we open up the settings again to show you a whole nother system of how we create these outline brushes. All right, so now that you've created your duplicated brush, you want to open it back up, and now you'll notice that there's 2 brush strokes there. So within your combined settings, you want to go and hit the mode that says difference. Now we finished the first brush settings. We're going to focus on the second brush settings, and we're going to go to properties, and then we're going to change the maximum size of the brush behavior. Once you do that, you'll start to see your brush come back into the space on the right hand side, and then you can play with the stroke how thick you want the line to be. So that's why we couldn't see it at first, because we're now putting the second layer below it so you can kind of see the difference between the two. This is the main core of your brush. So go back into the settings and change the behavior however you want it to look, because whatever you do here is going to reflect in your artboard. And that's it. Pretty simple. Under 5 minutes, you've learned how to make your own outline brush. So take this brush and give it a try and see where it goes. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps push the video out further for people who want to know how to do this technique. Also subscribe to the channel. It's technically bookmarking the work that I do throughout my YouTube career, so you don't miss anything. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me for 5 minutes or more. Who knows how long you've been here, but I appreciate it, man. So see you in the next video. Peace.